Welcome to Beyond the Headlines on the WMBD Plus app, where we break down today's local news stories with our very own reporters. I'm Cameron Main.
And I'm Alex Berger. Cameron and I are back together.
Oh, yeah,
Today
we
we are
are.
celebrating the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. You can see how Peoria is remembering him.
And then we learn how a local zoo is dealing with these frigid temperatures. But our first big local story of the day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, is recognized on the third Monday of January by all 50 states. For the past 34 years, Public Employees for Community Concerns has hosted an annual luncheon at the Peoria Civic Center to honor the prolific civil rights leader. Our very own Alex Berger was at the luncheon and is here now to explain it. So, Alex, what was this year's luncheon focused on?
Yeah, so obviously, this is the 34th year of this being held. But this year is kind of different because the climate of the country is pretty divided. There's a lot of stuff going on, and that was kind of the main theme of this year is, just kind of celebrating community and promoting, inclusivity and positive change, and just kind of promoting the work of Dr. King and saying, hey, this is what he stood for, and how can we apply it into everyday life? Like everyone from all walks of life, any political background, how can we apply what Dr. King spoke about, what he fought for? How can we apply that in our
Right,
daily
okay,
lives?
especially after there was some changes with, popularity when it comes to DEI programs.
Yeah.
I know that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, how was this year different from others?
Yeah, this year, kind of as I kind of mentioned, it was a very, I covered this last year as well. It had, the same kind of energy. People were, talking and mingling, and everyone was excited to be there. Tables were pretty much full. I mean, there was barely a seat in the house. And this is an event that has seen upwards of 2,500 people in the past.
Wow, okay.
Like when Dr. Maya Angelou spoke. So this is an event that's not shy to people being there. But again, the main focus was just how can we move forward with everything going on. The speaker this year, Sunny Hostin, she is a co-host on The View. She's also a longtime law journalist. She's worked for CNN, ABC. She used to do the ABC World News overnight.
Right, okay.
Which is also where David Muir started.
So like a down peg from Beyond the Headlines.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit,
But she spoke very candidly about, what's been going on with ICE and what's been going on, how people, are being detained, and just speaking about how we can all come together, how we can all move forward with something like this, and how we can kind of look out for each other, because it's, it's a difficult political climate, and using the work of Dr. King being more than just remembrance and putting it into action is really what this was focused on.
So how soon do they decide on the next speaker? They're probably thinking about next January already, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I spoke to organizer Alma Brown, and she basically said as soon as the event's over, they just go right into research for who the next speaker is going to be. And how that's decided is they look at different people who have spoke, fondly of Dr. King, who have kind of, advocated for what he has always spoke about, and who really puts it into action. And that is how they decide who the next speaker will be. Obviously, they reach out to them, see if they're available, and then they are given the guest speaker spot. But this is a very, very honorable spot to have. You've seen like James Earl Jones. You've seen Danny Glover. You've seen, like I mentioned, Dr. Maya Angelou, Condoleezza Rice. So many people have spoken.
A lot of big names
in this guest speaker slot that it's a very big honor.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for breaking that down
Always,
and attending the luncheon and telling us what this has happened. So check this out.
Okay.
Progresso is releasing soup drops again and adding some new flavors.
Ooh.
The drops are in hard candy form and replicate flavors of Progresso soup. Chicken noodle was the first flavor released a year ago. Now the company is adding tomato basil and beef pot roast.
I like how you say that.
The Basil. I guess that's the Basil's the. Anyway, the latest release went on sale last week on Walmart's website, but almost immediately sold out. Well, someone's dream was achieved there. Another batch will drop next Thursday. I don't know how I feel about this. I've never. Again, I don't have many of these or grew up with many of these sweet treats that everybody else has, but just reading some of those names, you know, tomato, basil, it's not really.
I also didn't quite grow up with, you know, Progresso soup necessarily. I was much more of a chunky soup kind of guy.
Right, okay.
Also putting this in so I can hear our producers, so don't mind me. But,
just doing some battery work while we're
doing
talking.
some battery work. I think that might need a new one. But I mean,
this feels like when talking to like someone where they're like on the TV remote and they can't figure it out, and they're like, press the mute button. They're like, I'm trying. They don't really clearly label it. I mean, considering some TV remotes, they're like in hieroglyphics. They're pretty
absolutely,
tough.
yeah. So, but we'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be back. All right, when we come back on Beyond the Headlines, we're continuing our coverage on MLK Day. See what happened right after the MLK luncheon when we return. Welcome back. We're continuing coverage on MLK Junior Day here in Peoria. After the MLK luncheon, there was a march.
There was, and WMD's Jack Vazikis was at the march in the cold temperatures. He joins us now. So, Jack, what was the point of holding this march after the event?
Yeah, kind of like you had mentioned, it was basically just to honor Martin Luther King and everything that he represents and what he stood for. And, you know, that message of equality and representation was very much part of this march. There were people holding signs and just, you know, wanting to be involved. And also, like you said, braving the cold temperatures. It was freezing out there. Like, I checked my watch and it was like 10 degrees.
Yeah.
So that means it felt like it was negative like 5 or negative 7. And I commend I didn't do the full walk. I did part of it and just got what I needed. But I commend these people for going out there and, you know, being part of this walk. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been the perfect time to just like bring like portable heaters with you.
Space heaters, just put in your
They
face.
were handing out like little heaters for your hands.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
Shout out.
So where did they walk to?
Yeah, they started on John Gwynn Avenue and went to Grace Baptist Church. So not too far, you know. I think in total it's like a mile, I want to say.
In the cold.
In the cold, yeah.
In the cold. So yeah, and then once they got there, they had some celebrations, some guest speakers, music, and just, you know, like I said, honoring MLK.
Yeah, and it's really something to, as we've mentioned, to actually walk in that kind of weather.
Yeah.
I mean, you've covered many marches, many parades in the cold, in all weather, rain or shine. It's really something to have somebody out there. How many people were on this walk?
Yeah, there were at least probably if I had to guess, probably 3 dozen.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a decent amount of people there, all in support, and presumably they came from the luncheon because I got there. You had covered the luncheon, I covered the walk, and so when we got there, we kind of did the old swapperoo with our photographer.
We did do the old swap.
and yeah, so a lot of these people came from the luncheon and then with the walk. So, you know, they just had a nice hearty meal and then going out to exercise. So
They sure did.
So good for them. Good for them.
Do you think you burn more calories if you walk in the cold?
I don't know.
I know this wasn't like an actual
You definitely burn more
exercise.
calories on a holiday.
Yeah. I
You
feel
know.
like you'd probably burn more if it was hot out because
Burn all the day.
you probably burn more calories if it's hot because it's hotter, you're sweating more, right? Maybe, I don't know.
But they weren't doing it for exercise. They were
Yes.
doing it
To
for the
send a
day itself.
message.
To send a message.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
and we're going to take a walk some point.
Where?
Was that like a?
like the McDonald's
We can
over
take a
on
walk to the
University
vending
Street.
machines down
To the vending
down the
machines.
hall.
Yeah, the vending machines.
vending
Yeah.
machines in the building.
I need my Twix now.
Yeah.
Need my Twix
Exactly.
now.
Alex got his Dr. Pepper. I need a Mountain Dew.
Did you pull out
and
your
we're good.
Dr. Pepper?
He went,
Hey, I had to give a visual aid for the.
A visual aid.
Yeah.
It's crazy that your Dr. Pepper is there in the first place.
Have you seen that that song where it's like Dr. Pepper, baby, it's good and nice.
Oh, I have, yeah.
You know what
I
I'm
have
talking
seen that,
about?
yeah. I was like, what are you talking about? I actually have seen that, yes. I do want to ask you one more thing. How would you say this march, like I mentioned, you covered a lot of parades and marches.
Yeah.
How do you feel like it's different than the other marches you've covered?
Probably just the messaging behind it, what it's there for. You know, like you said, I've covered a lot of walks, a lot of marches, and a lot of it is just sometimes it's like a parade or which also has its messaging behind it. But this is just more what MLK stood for of representation and equality. It's really decades later, it's still relevant. It's still prevalent now. So
Half a century?
yeah, half a century later, and it's still right here at the forefront. So I would say the messaging is what sets this march apart from others.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Jack. Well, we're going to switch a little bit of gears here. Listen to this. Have you heard of the term stay-at-home sons?
No, I haven't.
If
Me
you
neither.
don't know that term, it refers to jobless men living with their parents.
That used to be me, actually.
Well, the Washington Post reports they are apparently here to stay. In 2023, the Pew Research Center found 1/5 of men from 25 to 34 years old live in their parents' home. I'm going to nudge Cameron here.
Yo.
Last spring, a contestant on Jeopardy described himself as a stay-at-home son, saying it sounded better than unemployed or loitering. In many cultures, it's common for adult children who are not married to continue living with their parents. I live with my parents. I'm not married.
The thing is, as well, I think a lot of people forget how expensive it is to own a home and
It
how
is.
expensive rent is. Because I was like, obviously, I don't live with my parents now because none of my family live in
Same.
the greater Peoria area.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't blame anyone for living with their parents because they get to
Absolutely
pay.
not.
They have the house.
They get the house.
They
get
have-
to save money.
You save so much.
save so
you
much
can
money.
actually
I
buy
play so
a
much
house.
Call of Duty.
I think just.
This guy.
I just think some people just don't recognize how hard it is sometimes to buy a home. And
No, seriously, like, I if I could, I would. Like, I wish my parents were in the Central Illinois area so I could live there.
Right.
Yeah, he. Get on
Hey.
the sticks later
Yeah, get
because
on
Alex
here.
is always playing
go to the
Xbox.
Tremont Casey's.
You'll see me there. All right, we got one more local story for you when we return on Beyond the Headlines. We're sitting down with Austin Feeman in the Twin Cities to hear how the Miller Park Zoo is making adjustments for these frigid temperatures. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Another big local story of the day. Crikey. Miller Park Zoo delay their opening this morning due to a wind chill warning.
That's right. WMED's Austin Feeman joins us now to tell us more about what they're doing to keep the zoo animals warm during the frigid weather. Austin, how are they keeping the animals warm? It's so chilly. Look at you in your polo.
Yes, thank you, Alex and Cameron. So Miller Park Zoo opened around noon today when the wind chill advisory or warning ended. And really, they are just, they're trying to keep the animals warm with extra heaters, heating pads and whatnot inside the habitats, inside of the outside habitats and the inside habitats, if that makes sense. So they really have heaters all around indoors because they have some indoor exhibits and outdoors as well, because it is very cold outside with some snow on the ground. Now, some of the animals were even brought inside to keep warm, but unfortunately, these animals don't have indoor exhibits, so they're just staying inside to keep warm. For example, like the anteaters are staying inside right now to keep warm. They do not like the outdoor temperatures right now. I believe this morning it was about 4 degrees, which is definitely not weather that I want to be out there, and I'm sure the anteaters don't want to as well. Now, some of the animals do absolutely love the cold, and they're absolutely thriving right now, including the snow leopards and the sea otters, which are my personal favorite. I spent about 15 minutes just staring at them, and I think we had a conversation, but I'm not too sure. He kept coming up to me, but he was having a blast in the cold weather. He was swimming around, having a blast, and the snow leopard was just all cuddled up in his little his habitat, keeping warm, even though he does like the cold.
I commend you with the 15 minutes with the sea otters because I would have had to clock overtime.
Yeah,
looking at
literally.
those.
I would have had frostbite how long I would have stayed there, as well as like the snow leopard. It looks so cuddable and fluffy right there.
It does.
It looked like that and the, was it the alpacas or the llamas there?
Yeah.
They look alpaca-ish. I don't know what the technical ones. But anyway, Can you still see all the animals if you go to the zoo, Austin?
Yeah, so you definitely can still see a lot of the animals at the zoo. I know, like I said earlier, the sea otters and these snow leopards are still out there. I definitely wanted to give the snow leopard a hug. He looked like he needed one. He looked a little chilly, but I know all that for keeping them warm. But those alpacas you saw in the video, those are alpacas. They're also keeping warm. They have all that fluffy fur, but like I said, most of the animals you can still see. Some are inside in their exhibits, like some of the monkeys and whatnot in the rainforest exhibit. But some of them, like I said earlier, do not have indoor exhibits, and so you're not able to see some of those animals right now. I know for sure that the wallaby exhibit is closed right now. I'm sure all of the wallabies and whatnot are inside keeping warm. Some of the animals you can see that are outside are the gators, sea otters, like I said, alpacas, snow leopards, and there were some other ones as well. You can still see some of the monkeys, like I said, the tortoises, you can still see, they're just inside. But the animals that you cannot see, most of the farm animals that are there, the flamingos, and some other ones as well, they're all inside right now keeping warm, and unfortunately they usually spend most of their time outside, so they don't really have a plan for an indoor exhibit, so they're just staying inside with the heaters and the heating pads and whatnot, trying to keep warm with this very, very, very frigid weather.
Yeah, honestly, I'm with the wallabies there. I'm inside right now. We are both not built for this weather. And thank you so much, Austin, for breaking that down. Well,
thank you, Austin.
check this out.
Check this out.
Second sphere
Get this.
is coming to the U.S. If it didn't already feel like a zoo in Vegas, the entertainment venue will be built at National Harbor in Maryland, just south of Washington, D.C. Wow, that's a very small part of Maryland. It'll have 6,000 seats, about 1/3 the size of the Sphere in Las Vegas, but it will still have the trademark Exosphere and what's billed as the world's highest resolution LED screen. The National Harbor Sphere will be the third of its kind in the world. Another sphere is under construction right now in Abu Dhabi. You know, this makes me happy because I feel like sometimes I go on Twitter and I end up on like Chinese propaganda Twitter. And they go like, Guangdong is the greatest city ever. And they have all these shots of like Chinese infrastructure and all these amazing things. They're like, look at how great China's doing. And I'm like, damn, the Americans, we need to pick up on it.
Yeah.
This is our answer to China right now. This is our response. This is how we win the propaganda war of who's doing more infrastructure stuff right now.
And here I am, like, where at in Maryland is that?
We're out in Maryland, in Hammond, South Harbor.
I'll definitely have to check that out. We went to Vegas when the original Sphere was being built. And that
Right.
was, that
Okay.
was
Yeah.
cool to see.
I remember I've been to Vegas once, and I did kind of see it as I was going around. But I also think it's funny because that part of Maryland, when you get out of D.C., they're calling it Crick, you know, around those parts. So. All right, thanks for joining us for today's Beyond the Headlines.
You can find all these stories and more over on our website, ciproud.com. Bye.
For breaking news and weather updates 24/7, log on to ciproud.com and download the free CI Proud to Go mobile app.